whenever we go into a new national park, for whatever reason, we always compare it to Yellowstone, which is our favorite national park. We love the beauty and the wildlife of Yellowstone. So anytime we go to a new national park, that's the first thing we do is compare it to Yellowstone.
It's not really fair, though, that we do it, but we do it. Each national park has its own kind of beauty and characteristics and personality to offer of its own. But Yellowstone is just really hard for us to get past all that.
But I will say, after going into Arches, Yellowstone, you may have a new top contender. We stayed at the Moab Valley RV Park in Moab, Utah. And this was a great place for us to stay.
Very nice, clean.
Yes,
very
clean.
Very pretty.
And we were literally about 2 miles from the entrance to Arches.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. It allowed us on work days during the week, once I got off work, again, we could go into Arches for a couple hours, either do some small hikes or just driving around to see what it has to offer. So it really worked out great. And you're literally just a couple miles on the north end of the town of Moab. And that was pretty cool too. We went in there a couple times for dinner, for something to eat.
Yeah.
It was neat to see the ATVs, the side-by-sides running up and down the main street. It was a cool, nice little town.
Yeah, it was really nice. They have all kinds of restaurants and shops. And also I wanted to say dogs are allowed in a lot of the outdoor seating restaurants, which was a real plus for us for Vertigo.
Yes, that was pretty cool. But getting back to Arches, the reason of this video. Arches, I gotta say, if I ever had a chance to go back again, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
We did some really cool adventures. We did 3 hikes in Arches that we're going to cover in this video. And I really hope, I know that we're truly blessed to get to do what we're doing and get to see and experience some of the things that we're seeing. But in this video, we want to hopefully take you along on these hikes with us. Now, we're not Steven Spielberg. We're not even associated with anyone even return our phone calls. But what we're trying to do, and I hope this works out, we put together 3 snippets of 3 separate hikes for you, and we're really hoping that you feel like you're along with us on these hikes. Now, this first hike I had to do by myself. It was about 9 miles, I believe I did on this one house. It was a loop hike, a big circle, and it was called the Devil's Garden. Yeah. And this is all the way in the back of Arches National Park, as far as you can go. Dina has a bum knee, if you're not aware of that, and we knew this was going to be a little bit too much for her, so I ended up doing this hike by myself. Again, I believe you can do this in about 8 miles. It's going to take a good 3/4 of a day to do it. The first part of this hike is very easy. It's actually a nice paved, or not paved, but a nice walkway, a very well-maintained path. And that gets you out to an arch called the Landscape Arch. So if you don't have much time, or if it's a little bit too much for you, I would still suggest going out and looking at the Landscape Arch. It was, again, an easy hike and very, very enjoyable. Now, what I ended up doing was I did the full loop. I saw probably half a dozen or more different arches. Once you get off the main trail, it's called a primitive trail. There's really no landmarkings. They do have some cairns. If you don't know what that is, they're kind of like the rocks that are stacked on top of each other to kind of guide you around a little bit, hopefully keep you on trail. There's not too many of them, so you really need to know how to read a compass, how to read a map, and how to find yourself if you get lost, how to get back on trail. Now, one of the things that I took with me was an app called All Trails. I downloaded the map beforehand, so I had it with me on my phone, and I did get off trail a couple of times. Didn't panic. I pulled out the app. I knew approximately where I was anyways, but I just pulled out the app. I realized I had to go 100 yards back the other direction. I caught up on the trail again and went from there. Now, this Devil's Garden hike, again, it's about 8 to 9 miles long, depending on some of your options. It's a strenuous hike, mainly because of the distance. There's a lot of elevation gains. There's a lot of scrambling. There's some places where you're going to be on the edge of cliffs. So be prepared for that. If that's something that you think you're into or you think you can handle or in shape for, I would highly suggest this hike. You really get to see a good part of Arches National Park, and you can't go wrong. It's just a beautiful hike. So let's go ahead, we'll take a look at the snippets we put together for this hike, and hopefully you feel like you're right along there with us.
time till the continents collide. But out your window, going somewhere new, I see it through. And the hand of fate that I drew had me down and out, but I've come to. And yeah, I poured out my soul, what I can undo, but I see it through. I know the skies will open for you, and the stars, they all turn blue. Let the morning sun come to your rescue, I see it through. And out your window, you're going somewhere new, I see it through. When the lies stick close to the truth, and the night is closing on you, and when you're feeling small, oh, you're bulletproof, I see it through. And out your window, you're going somewhere new, I see it through. And I see it through.
Hopefully you're not tired after that 9-mile hike, but I know I was when I got done. So again, this was just a great hike. You can probably get a really good feeling how difficult some parts were, and some parts weren't that bad, but again, it does take a little bit longer. I think they suggested maybe 4 to 5 hours. I think it took me a little bit longer than that, and I went along pretty well. Bring lots of water, and again, just prepare for a little bit of extra time. Now this next hike we're going to talk about, one of our favorites.
One of our favorites.
One of our favorites.
Yes.
We're going to save the favorite one for
Yes.
last. You got to stick around for the last one.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Yeah.
it's our favorite, all-time favorite. You just trust me on that one. Stick around for that. The second hike, this was
a great hike too.
Oh yeah, this
It was beautiful.
If the Devil's Garden is too much for you, this is a much easier hike.
Yes.
It's strenuous in locations, but it's definitely doable.
You just stop. If you need to stop, just take a minute or two
Yeah.
and catch your breath and continue on.
So this hike, it was 3 miles, approximately 3 miles up and back. You go out roughly 1.5 miles out and 1.5 miles back, and it's called the Delicate Arch hike. If you know anything about Arches National Park, the Delicate Arch is pretty much the famous arch. It's the one that everybody wants to see. It's on all the literature and stuff. It's a really
Calendars,
calendars.
books.
Yeah,
It's magazines.
It's the arch to
and it
see.
is worth seeing. It really is.
So this hike, again, it's about 1.5 miles going out. It starts out relatively easily, and it starts out really cool. There's a old wolf. Is it Wolf Ranch?
Yep.
There's an old wolf called the Wolf Ranch. It's basically an old cabin sitting there, and this is within the first 1/10 of a mile
right
from
there off
the beginning of the hike. It's right there. So you walk past this old cabin. There's an old, I think it's called like a food cellar's, what I would take it as. It looks like it's kind of dug into the side.
I thought it was a wine cellar.
Well, you
Silly
would.
me.
Okay, there's no wine cellar next to the cabin, and an old horse corral. So that's really cool. That's just starting out. And then just past that, you kind of go on a side trail for a little bit. Again, you're probably within the first 1/4 mile of the hike. There's petroglyphs on the side of the wall, and it's a historic location. You can't touch them. They got it blocked off a little bit. I believe, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I believe it's the Ute Indians, UTE.
Yeah.
I think that's what they said, that so they believe did these petroglyphs.
Our apologies if that's not how you pronounce it. But
yeah, I'm not an English major. But that was really, really cool. They
Really
said
cool.
these petroglyphs are, they believe, is 300 to 400 years old.
Yeah.
And this is, again, right in the very beginning of the hike. So if the hike is, you think it's going to be a little bit too strenuous for you, just those two little things alone are worth it.
Worth seeing.
Now, once you get past these, you're heading out towards Delicate Arch. That's your goal of this hike. It starts out easy. You know, you're on a trail. There are some ups and downs. It's jagged. The middle section of this hike is probably the most strenuous. It's very steep. You ascend about 700 feet within that mile and a half going out. And I think most of that's in this center section.
Yeah.
So be prepared
I
for
would
that.
agree.
It's very easy walking. It's nice and flat slabs of rock, but they're steep. Now, the one thing that we found out, and it really worked out well for us, we would walk maybe 100 yards or so until we started huffing and puffing. We just stopped. We stopped, enjoyed the view, stood there for a couple minutes, got our breath back, and continued on.
He's being nice. It was me who had to stop. You guys probably already knew that, but I just thought I'd say that.
I threw you under the bus before, so I wasn't going to do
You're
it
not
again.
going to do it again.
So after Dina caught her breath, we would continue on. And this is how we got through that center section. We'd walk for a little bit. Once we got tired, and you may even feel like you want to turn around, like you can't do it. Don't, just trust me, you can do it. Stop, take your time.
Take your time. There's no rush.
Yeah, there's no rush, and there's nothing wrong with the views either. So enjoy the view, catch your breath, and continue on. You'll be well rewarded at the end of this hike. Now, once you get over the center section of the hike, it is rocky, right? You're up and down on some rocks, some loose rocks, back and forth. There's a few spots towards the very end of the hike that the trail falls off to the edge. So make sure your wife isn't mad at you for anything. You're literally on the edge of a cliff. But once you come around this corner, right, and you see Delicate Arch there, it'll blow your mind away.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was unbelievably beautiful.
And we were fortunate. The weather was perfect. We didn't have a cloud in the sky. We were probably in the upper 60s, I believe, for the temperature. Now, what we did, and this is something I believe a lot of people do, we went there for the sunset. So we got there a little bit early. We probably stayed around the arch for 45 minutes to an hour, just relaxing. And I mean, the views, again, you can't go wrong with the views. Take all your pictures while the sun's out, and then as the sun, starts to set, it's magical, right?
It is.
And
so peaceful and just...
Yeah, and I thought what I really liked about it was there was probably a couple hundred people there when we were there, 100 to 200 people there. Everybody was respectful for the sunset, I think. Everybody was just doing the same thing we were doing, just enjoying it. Now, if you do decide to do this hike for like a sunset hike, again, prepare. I forget how long the brochure says a hike takes. Give yourself plenty of time.
Yeah.
It is stressful again in the middle, so
strenuous.
Strenuous, yeah. If you're gonna be, slower than average, just give yourself plenty of time. Plenty of water.
We actually ran into a friend of ours who is a regular hiker, and she underestimated the length of the I guess the time that she thought it would take her being a regular hiker, and she actually missed the sunset.
Yeah.
But she was a good sport about it. She continued on to see what she could see, and probably hung up for a little bit in the dark, and
probably enjoyed the stars.
Yeah, probably enjoyed the stars, and there were a lot of them.
If you do decide to do this for sunset, again, give yourself plenty of time. There's a lot of people with the same, doing the same thing, so the trail could be a little busy. Make sure you bring a headlamp with you. Everybody in your party should have their own headlamp.
It is so dark.
It's dark.
If you go for the sunset hike, that is.
Yeah.
It is so dark coming back. You don't think it's going to be too bad.
It's dark.
Yes.
There's no street lights out there.
It's really dark.
And you don't rely on your cell phone, the flashlight on your cell phone. I think they even warn you about that. But anyways, let's go ahead. We'll take a look. Hopefully, we really want you to feel like you're coming along on this hike with us. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Delicate Arch hike.
like an ocean, full and deep. You deliver me, and you light the darkness, what I can't see. You're always there to guide me. Cross any mountain, what's out of reach, sail every ocean. You deliver me down any road where my eyes can't see. A river flowing, you deliver me. You're like the wind, blowing free. You deliver me, and I can wander, I can roam. No matter how far I go, I know my way home. You're my horizon, you set me free. The great wide open, you deliver me. You are my courage, my family. Like the wind blowing, you deliver me. You're like the ocean, full and deep. You deliver me. Cross any mountain, what's out of reach, sail every ocean. You deliver me. And when the road bends, I know where it leads. Forever, always, you deliver me. A river flowing, you deliver me. Like the wind blowing, you deliver me.
Okay, we weren't lying, were we? That is a beautiful hike. The sunset, it was awesome. Actually, coming back in the dark, I thought was kind of fun too.
Are you a little tired?
Yeah, you look like you're sweating there a little bit. I don't blame you.
Did we mention though that you don't necessarily have to go for sunset? People are up and down
All day.
all day,
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
The park actually does not ever close. It's open 24/7. And actually, when we were coming down in the dark, there were still some people going
That's
up.
right, yeah.
Probably, like you said earlier,
Stargazing,
just
maybe.
stargazing or whatever. But don't feel like if you can't make the sunset that
yeah.
it's not worth it, because it's still worth
Oh, yeah, yeah.
seeing no matter which way you see it.
You can't go wrong on this
Right.
hike. Now, as promised, we saved our favorite hike for last. In our opinion, if you only had a half a day, 3/4 of a day in Arches, this is the hike for you. I think this hike gives you a very good feeling of Arches National Park, right?
Yeah, it does.
It's unbelievable. Fair warning, you're gonna get lost. But you'll find the trail again.
Yeah.
You're gonna have an awesome time. This hike is called the Fiery Furnace. Now, right up front, you have to have a permit for this hike. And when we were there, they were releasing permits a week, 7 days ahead of time. This is an extremely popular hike.
Yeah.
If you plan on doing this, double check to see when they release the permits and get yours the day that it releases.
We were there in the fall. We were there in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're releasing them a week ahead of
Yeah.
time. So I don't know if they changed that during the year.
It may change
or
during the
something.
year, right.
But just be prepared for that. If you are planning on this, you have to have a permit, and they go fast. This is the hike that everybody wants to do. Now, we were honestly we were a little nervous about this hike because they have, during certain parts of the year, they have rangers that guide you through. Again, this is a 2-mile loop. They have some little arrows.
Oh, yeah.
There's about
arrows.
20 arrows within 2 miles to help guide you through. Some of them are kind of hard to find. In our little video on the hike, you'll see us pointing at some of these arrows. But when you read all the brochures on this hike, they warn you, kind of tell you, don't do this if you've never done it before until you go with a ranger.
Yeah.
So we were kind of nervous. Again, Dina has a bad
And the ranger
knee.
even tells you you're guaranteed to get lost.
You're guaranteed. And
So not knowing.
He was right.
It's a little. It makes you a little.
nervous.
Yeah. Intimidating. Yeah.
Again, thank God for all trails, because we did use the app a couple times to find the trail.
We were not the only ones using all trails.
We weren't lost. We were just not on the trail and didn't know where it was and couldn't find our way back. Other than that, we were good to go. So Fiery Furnace, if you don't know anything about it, if you can just picture canyons. I mean, when I say narrow, I'm talking you have to squeeze through places, drop off, sheer cliffs. What else did we do? Crawling under boulders, squeezing in between cracks, scrambling. What else did we do in there?
Oh, just
about everything. Your body, you're gonna be sore the next day.
Yes, you are. There's I think when you get your permit, you also have to watch a
little
15-minute video, and the ranger will tell you it's a full body workout. Yeah. You will get a full body workout. Yeah. He was not lying.
Yeah. we were both sore. A couple of days afterwards.
Yeah.
But again, Fiery Furnace, it's roughly a 2-mile loop. Yeah. You're literally in between rocks, ravines. You're on edge of cliffs.
Yeah. You're slipping and sliding and up and over and under, and
you're gonna be sore.
Yeah.
But as we both said, we've been hiking for quite a while now. This has got to be our favorite hike.
Definitely.
And if there's just one thing you can do in Arches, if you can do the hike, you got to do it. You'll never forget.
You don't have to be in tip-top shape to do this hike. It's all, you can go slow. Go as slow as you want, go as fast as you want. That's what you want to do. But I think the more you take your time, the more you take in, like literally take in your mind and just enjoy it, because it's an incredible place. It really is.
So with all that said, come along with us as we hike the Fiery Furnace.
Our world
We made it up.
We survived the fiery furnace.
Yay!
That was probably the funnest hike we've ever done.
Hopefully that gives you a really good perspective on the fiery furnace. What a great hike. We had a blast.
And if you're not sore yet, you might be tomorrow.
Yeah, you will be tomorrow. You'll be sore just from watching the hike on the video. Again, this was an awesome hike. If you've done this hike in the past, please leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about this hike. Let us know if you think it was as awesome as we think it is. And if you do happen to get a chance to go do it in the future, leave a comment then and let us know if this helped you out or what you think about the hike too.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you really enjoyed our video. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the like button and also hit the notification button so you're notified once we have a new video come out.
And remember, always live life to the fullest.